Why, the whole world will pay to see this.
Sky means business.
What you're looking at is a monster.
A gigantic beast, king of the monsters.
Fantastic beyond comprehension.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The eighth wonder of the world!
Hi everyone, I am Charles Gamarekian Jr. with Cambridge Paving Stones. A couple years ago, a lot of you joined us with another tour with our other facility. Today we'll be touring, I'll be giving you a personal tour of Cambridge's brand new facility. It is the largest concrete and retaining wall plant in North America. Other than being the largest plant in North America, what really separates us from the rest is the fact that we have Armortech. So right now we are outside the Cambridge Paving Stone South Amboy facility where all the raw materials are delivered. Behind me you will see the sand and the stone that gets loaded with a bucket loader, driven up the ramp behind me, and dumped into the load hoppers, which will then be conveyed by a flex wall belt into the plant. As we all know, with manufactured concrete, Portland cement is the main ingredient. Behind me you will see our 3 cement silos, each which contain enough capacity for 200 tons of cement. We just walked inside the plant from being outside where you saw where all the raw materials are loaded to come into the plant. Right now we're standing on our aggregate hopper platform. This is where all the sand and stone is weighed out to make a mix, to make a concrete paving stone or retaining wall. To the left and right of me and above me, you see hoppers and a belt. Each belt sits on load cells that gets a signal from the batching computer, which we will see later, that calls for a certain amount of weight. That weight will be weighed out and loaded onto the belt using these clam gates to the right or left of me. You have 2 clam gates per hopper, one for coarse loading and one for fine loading. This ensures that every mix hits the tolerance plus or minus 5 pounds. That ensures from mix to mix we have a quality paver. We just saw how all the sand and stone is weighed out from the aggregate bins to the weigh belt. The next step, the sand and stone will be conveyed by conveyor belt to the 2 large buckets behind me, which we call skip hoist. These skip hoists will get the mix of aggregate, it will travel up the track behind me, load into the mixer, and then mix for about 3 minutes with all the other raw materials. These 2 skip hoists control the sand for all the retaining wall and the bottom 2 inches of the paver, the strength and the coarse aggregate of the mix. We just saw how the base aggregates, the coarse sand and stone, are weighed out and then conveyed in the skip hoist, which feed the base mixers for the bottom of the paving stone and retaining wall. Behind me you have the face conveyor belt that feeds the Armortech mixers. The reason why this belt is separate to ensure the highest quality control with no contamination with the special design and engineered aggregates that Cambridge has to manufacture Armortech. One of the ugliest words in our industry is efflorescence. Behind me you're going to see the equipment that helps weigh and dose the admixture, which helps Cambridge Paving Stones alleviate the issue of efflorescence. We have partnered up with Sika for over 10 years now, spent millions of dollars on R&D and equipment to help with this problem that we have all endured. We will not sit here and tell you that this problem is 100% cured. No company can. But we have put the time and the effort in to make sure we are doing our best. The third raw material used in making a Cambridge paving stone with Armortech or retaining wall is pigment. We use a granulated iron oxide pigment. That pigment is weighed out and dosed in the 2 machines behind me. One machine is used to make Armortech, the other is used to make the retaining wall. These machines can weigh out anywhere from half a pound to 150 pounds of color every 2 minutes. What separates us from any other plant in the country is the fact that we have 2 machines. These cement silos above is what holds and stores Portland Type 1 cement. This cement is then screwed by an auger conveyor into the mixer. Now that we've seen how all the raw materials, the cement, the admix, the color, and the aggregate are loaded and weighed to be conveyed to the mixers, it's time to see how we mix the concrete. Behind me, you have 4 mixers. 2 mixers for Armortech, 2 mixers for retaining wall or base mix, the bottom of the stone. What makes this the largest batch plant in the country is the fact that we have these 4 mixers. A typical plant making paving stones or retaining wall usually only has 1 mixer. Having these 4 mixers allows us 2 amazing things. Number 1, to be able to make 6 color blends for retaining wall and paving stones. Number 2, it allows us to batch, mix, and dispense 24,000 pounds of concrete every 3 minutes. We are now standing on the mixer mezzanine area of the plant, where you have your 4 mixers. You have your 2 base mixers directly to my right and your 2 Armortech mixers over my right shoulder. The 2 base mixers have the capability to mix up to 10,000 pounds of concrete each every 3 minutes. The 2 Armortech mixers have the capability to mix up to 2,000 pounds of concrete each every 3 minutes. Under each mixer you have 3 hoppers. So for the base you have 6 locations, and for the Armortech face mixers you have 6 locations. This is how we can make 6 color blends, which I'll show you next. Now that we've seen the raw materials conveyed and mixed, it is time for the fun part, the color blending. Behind me, you see the hoppers under the mixers. The 2 mixers have 3 hoppers each. Each hopper has a feeder belt underneath it. Each feeder belt has 3 gates. So you have 6 hoppers, 3 gates per hopper. You have 18 options to place 6 colors anywhere you want to on this belt. And you're gonna see how a 6 color Armortech paver is made. After walking through the main batch plant of Cambridge Pavers, we started outside with the cement and the aggregate. We came inside, you saw hoppers, you saw mixers, you saw silos, you saw color dispensing. You have all these working parts that have to come together to make a perfect mix to make a concrete paver. The brains behind that process are behind me on the wall. That is our state-of-the-art batching software that controls every single pound or ounce of admix, sand, stone, water, concrete that goes into the mix design when making a concrete paving stone. Here we are in front of the Tiger PS1000 production machine. This machine is responsible for making all our concrete pavers with Armortech and our retaining wall. Every 12 seconds, either 8 Sigma 8 block or 12 square feet of ledge stone can be made on this machine. You're gonna see the mold come down on a table. You're gonna see the base feed drawer come over the mold and feed material into the mold. Then you're gonna see the tamper head come down and compress the concrete. Next, you're gonna see the Armortech drawer come out. The tamper head will come down for final compression to make a paver. We just watched how a Cambridge paving stone with Armortech is made on our PS1000 machine. The next step is for the paver to enter this room, which we call the curing room, where it will enter the rack behind me, doors will come down, and the concrete will cure from 16 to 24 hours before packaged. We just got finished seeing how concrete is batched in the batching side of the Cambridge Paving Stones plant. We're now gonna go down toward the main production side of the plant, which has your wet side, where the concrete is actually pressed and produced, and your dry side, where it's processed and packaged. What makes this plant so much different and significant from any other plant in North America is that you have 4 lines, 3 retaining wall splitting lines, and 1 paver line feeding off of 1 wet side production machine. We just came from a bird's eye view of the entire packaging side of the plant. A little bit of a closer look of where we're at, what we call the dry side of the Cambridge Paving Stones manufacturing plant. After all the material has cured from anywhere from 16 to 24 hours, it comes out to this section of the production plant. Behind me, you'll see these heavy-duty orange steel pieces of machinery called splitters. As you saw in the overview, we have 3 lines, 3 splitting lines, which all can operate at the same time. These 3 splitting lines can output 50,000 8-inch retaining wall block per 24-hour shift. You also have in between the splitting lines a paver line, which can convey, package, and distribute 60,000 square feet of paving stones per day. We are now at the final step of the Cambridge paving stone manufacturing process. Product was batched, made, QC'd, and now ready to get packaged to go out on a truck. Next step is it being installed. I want to thank you guys for taking the time on this virtual tour today with me and Cambridge Pavers. I look forward to seeing you on the next plant tour.